CES 2018, we've made our way over here to Be Quiet. And if you guys have ever dealt with air coolers or looked them up, the Dark Rock Pro series from Be Quiet is one of the most popular air coolers that you'll possibly find. It's not just because of it's all black, and it's blacker now than it used to be. It's like a very jet black. Heat pipes are black even, but it's not just the color that makes it popular. It's a massive amount of cooling capability of 250 watts TDP displaced. But if you've also ever kind of tried to install one, then you would know that they were not necessarily the most friendly. And if you were dealing with a motherboard that had high VRM heat sinks, or you're dealing with tall RAM, then you more than likely ended up with some sort of a conflict. And getting the brackets on there was really kind of a pain. So that's why they are upgrading this now with the Dark Rock Pro 4, which we've actually got one right here. What's made this extremely different is the fact that they have created a pass-through right here. Just simple design change allows you to get a screwdriver all the way down to the bracket. So you take the middle fan out right here on their twin cooling tower, and you can easily get to the screw right here to tighten this down, making it much more simplified, making it easier to install, more friendly with more setups, because we also have more RAM clearance over here now than we used to. You can kind of see right here on this unit, maybe we can kind of show it right here too. We've got a little bit more of a cutout on this side, specifically for RAM clearance. So tall RAM, your Corsairs, your G-Skills that have your nice tall RGB tops on there are no longer going to conflict. Now I talked about color a second ago, and I want to kind of mention this. This is not just a black painted heatsink. Anyone could do that, but the problem is when you paint a heatsink, you also reduce its efficiency of heat transfer, because this paint acts almost like an insulation at that point. So that's why what Be Quiet has done right here, this is actually a ceramic particle coating. Very similar like what you would see on the space shuttle is what they're telling me here, but it gives it a much more efficient transfer of heat. So the color is not just an aesthetics thing, it's actually a very functional aspect to how this cooler works. And it's not just on the heatsink itself, it's also on the heat pipe. So yeah, it's functional and form. You know, I'm gonna say this, if you were Noctua, I think I'd be scared if I were you, because aesthetics, people care about aesthetics now. That's why RGB is still a thing. But something else we're gonna take a look at here that I'm interested in is you guys saw a video I did about a month ago where I showed off the new Ghost S1 case from Loki, which obviously uses an SFX power supply. But the problem is SFX power supplies usually are very small wattages. They're not designed for heavy loads or big gaming machines. But with now having mini graphics cards and the efficiency of CPUs and stuff moving forward, like 8th gen processor and the efficiency of Ryzen, we have now got an Sfx L series power supply from Be Quiet that comes in 500 watt, including a 600 watt that keeps the same form factor. The problem with SFX is sometimes as the wattage gets higher, it actually gets a bit longer, which kind of negates some of the form factor benefits of going with a small form factor build with something like SFX. But unlike in the past, where if you had to deal with either an SFX or a full-size ATX power supply, you had to choose one or the other. But what included, well, all the Sfx L power supplies is this bracket, which you mount to the power supply, and you can use this in other systems. With the amount of output that this has, you could use it in multiple systems, not just a small form factor. But more important than that, it's the cables. Cables on small form factor are always the most challenging part in a build, which is why we've also got a fully modular SFX power supply. So the Be Quiet Sfx L, definitely worth checking out. So you're probably gonna see this used in my Ghost build, which is coming up in the first quarter of 2018. We're just waiting on a few more parts. We manufactured that and sent over. And the challenge is obviously how much hardware can you pack into an extremely small form factor. Unfortunately, we've got a 600 watt solution right here that doesn't make us compromise on either modularity or wattage output. So guys, that's what we're taking a look at here at Be Quiet here at CES 2018. Again, a huge thank you to our sponsors, EVGA, for making this trip possible. Make sure you guys go and check them out at evga.com. And as always, we'll see you in the next one.